This is a special presentation brought to you by the Daf Map, based on one of the lectures given by HaRav Yehonasan Berger Shlita. Please check out our other videos and shiurim at www.thedafmap.com.
Today's shiur begins 4 lines from the top of Daf Samach Vov. We quote from the Mishna, Shichvas Zaro Tamea. We were dealing with a person that established Zav status. His Shichva Zera is Tamea. The Gemara will deal with that, and we have a marking scheme that's featured on the side of the Gemara. You notice the Nosay / Mivneh heading. Nosay the topic heading and Mivneh the structural note. The trapezoid shape, you see, which we fondly refer to at times as the volcano shape, are shlavim lahasbir hadikotoni shichva zera shel zav tamea, stages in trying to explain what that phrase means. So we turn to the Gemara lemai. With regard to what does our Mishnah teach that the zav's shichva zera is tomei? Ilema lemaga. If the point of the Mishnah is that the shichva zera of the zav communicates tuma, defilement, through contact, well, that's obvious. Migora mishichvas zera de torah. Is it any weaker than shichva zera, than semen from a healthy person? Semen from a healthy person, from a regular person, an undefiled person, is mitame b'mago. It communicates tuma through contact. So why would I think that the shichva zera of a zav is any different? Ela zaroi shel zav mitame b'masa. When the Mishnah says that the semen coming from a zav is tamea, it's tomei even if you merely support it, you carry it without actually touching it. The Gemara rejects that. Man shamis laha de omar shichva zera shel zav mitame b'masa. Who has been heard to say such a thing? In other words, no one has ever said that. Who has ever been heard to say such a thing? If you're going to suggest that it's Rabbi Yoshua in the upcoming source, we're going to show you that's not exactly what he says. So what does the source say? Rabbi Ozer Omer Shichva Zaro Shel Zav Eino Mitame B'Masa. Rabbi Ozer says that the support or the carrying of Shichva Zaro of a Zav simply does not communicate Tuma unless you have direct contact with it. But having it, let's say, in a vessel and you are supporting it, you're carrying it, the vessel is on your shoulders, that's Masa, but it doesn't communicate Tumas Masa. Rabbi Yeshua Imer Mitame B'Masa. Rabbi Yeshua says, well, it does. The Shichva Zera of a Zav is Mitame B'Mas, but he gives a reason, because it's impossible that there aren't some ziva droplets mixed in. You see, there are different exusions that we have been referring to. One is shichva zera, and another is ziva. These are both male emissions. However, they are different from one another. So the Gemara goes on making its point. Afilu Rabbi Yeshua lo omar elo mishum tzchzuche ziva. Even Rabbi Yeshua, who spoke about the shichva zera of a zav being metame b'masa, but why? Because of the presence of droplets of ziva, the ziva type emission mixed in. Al be'inei lo omar, but isolated. Be'inei means isolated or pure shichva zera of a zav would not mitame b'masa, even according to Rabbi Yeshua. So we're back to square one. Where or what does it mean when in the Mishnah that the shichva zera of a zav is tomei? So now we have a new approach. Of course, you can see it's a third volcano, but a very new approach. Elo omar Rav Ado bar Ava loimar she'ein toilin ba. That which we say that the shichva zera of a zav is tomei, it means that if you have a zav that is observing clean days. And he has a ziva sighting that came on the heels of Shichva Zera. We would not attribute the Zav sighting to the Shichva Zera and then say that he has not interrupted his clean days, but rather he has interrupted his clean days with a sighting of Ziva, even though it was preceded by a sighting of Shichva Zera. If we take a look at, there's a Tosfos in the upper part of the page, in the narrow lines, E Lema. That Tosfos, if you look at the fifth line of the Tosfos, Elo Omer of Alda Baravo, Loimar, Shein Toilin Ba, to Masechah Zovin Tanan, Haroya Keri, Eino Metame Beziva, Komeis Leis. If a person had a sighting of Keri, which is semen, and then there was, within 24 hours, there was a Ziva sighting, the Ziva sighting will not be a source of Tumah. Shakeri Poiter Ziva Habol Achrel Kol Meis Leis. Keri has the unique feature of exempting from Tumah any Ziva that appears within 24 hours of that Keri sighting. However, once a person has become established as a Zav, then the subsequent Ziva sighting, even if it was preceded by Shichva Zera, we would not ascribe the current Ziva sighting to the Shichva Zera. Even though, if a Zav hadn't become officially a Zav, and he had a Ziva sighting which followed a Shichva Zera emission, we would have discounted that Ziva sighting. But once a person has established himself as a Zav, the Shichva Zera Tamea means the Shichva Zera will not prevent the subsequent Ziva sighting from being disregarded, from being ascribed or associated with the Shichva Zera, which under other circumstances really does neutralize the Ziva. The Gemara continues. Sovar Rav Papa Kamei de Rava Lemeimar. Rav Papa thought to say that the reason that we're not toile the Ziva in the Keri, once he has become a Zav, Aidi Chulshahu Dechazi. Now, following Rashi's approach, I realized that there are other commentaries on this Gemara. Tosfos has a very different approach, but we're going to follow the Rashi explanation of this line, which is as follows. Rav Papa wants to explain the reason why we can't toile the Ziva, we can't ascribe the Ziva sighting that came after a Shichva Zera sighting for someone who is an established Zav, because someone who's an established Zav, that's Aidi Chulsha. Chulsha means weakness. It's because of his weakness that is a result of the Ziva sightings that he saw this subsequent Ziva sighting. It's because of his body weakness, and it's not something that we would associate with the Shichva Zera. Omar le Rava v'hotanan gershin is gayer mitama miyad beziva. A person who converts to Judaism, and he has a Ziva sighting. His Ziva sighting is considered Tomei. So we see from here that there is Ziva even without Chulsha. Rav Papa made it sound as if the Ziva sighting is a function of weakness. Here, in the case of the Ger Shiniz guy, there's someone who just converted to Judaism. There's no sign of any weakness, and yet the Ziva status is achieved, is reached. Omar lay. So Rav Papa says back, Ein l'cha chayli gadol mizeh. A person who makes the decision to megayer, to convert, and goes ahead with the conversion, that is a very, we'll say, jolting experience. And you don't have any greater example of choli, of sickness, of weakness, than that. So that the case of the Gershin is Gayer Mitama Yad Beziva is definitely a reflection of what Rav Papa was saying. And now, we're following Rashi's approach, and you see we have a funny looking volcano shape. It's a dashed volcano shape here. We have a note saying, Tama Kiv Kuv, Hagishol L'Shlav Hazeh B'Gemor Shonui B'Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. How to approach this line is the subject of a controversy between Rashi and Tosfos. But we're going to follow the Rashi's explanation that this Elo Tanoihi is a reflection back regarding that which was said before, that they're Tanoim that in fact hold that there is Tumas Masa regarding the Shichva Zerav Zav without any droplets of Ziva mixed in. It's true that at our second volcano shape we suggested this idea, but it was immediately rejected by the Gemara. However, here the Gemara says, don't reject it so quickly. It's actually a machlokes tanoim. The issue of Shichva Zerav Zav as being metame b'masa even without droplets of ziva mixed in. So the Gemara says, Elo tanoihi, Tesanya. Tanoi means it's a tanaic controversy. It says, Shichva Zera Shel Zav metame b'masa kol me'es le'es. Rabbi Yossi Omer Yomo. Both Tanoim agree that the Shichva Zera of a Zav communicates Tumah through Maso, even without you're actually touching it. By the mere fact you're carrying it or supporting it on top of you, it creates Tumah. And the Tanakama says it's Metama for the first 24 hours of its emission. And Rabbi Yossi says for that day, in other words, till nightfall of the day in which the Shichva Zera of the Zav appeared. So there was a Shichva Zera emission of a Zav. Tanakama says it communicates Tumah through Masa for 24 hours, and Rabbi Yossi says no, only till the end of the day. What's the basis of their machlokas, of their disagreement? Shmuel. The Shmuel Rami. Shmuel raises a contradiction in Psukim. Ksiv kiyeh b'cha'ish asher lo yeh tor mikre laila. This is a description of someone who had an emission. And mikre laila mizmashma, he's tamei until the evening. And uksiv, it says lifnos erev yirchatz b'mayim. Means as evening approaches, he will be in water. He'll be in a mikveh. Well, that's mashma lifnos erev. That expression sounds like there are two evenings. So how do you come to that? Well, you have a sighting now. It could be like, let's say, the evening time, and 24 hours later, you find yourself once again in an evening. So that implies that there are 24 hours of Tumah. So that's what Shmuel teaches us, that there's a stira in the Psukim. Man de Omar me'es le'es, the Tanakama, who said that the Shichva Zera of a Zav is metam b'masa for 24 hours, Dayek milifnois erev. He emphasizes, he scrutinizes that part of the pasuk lifnos erev, which was mashma for 2 evenings, which gets you to 24 hours. V'idach dayek mikir laila. The opinion says that it's a tumah that is only till the end of the day, because he emphasizes the expression mikre laila, which is mashma only until the night. Uman diomar milifnos erev haksiv mikre laila. The opinion says lifnos erev. What does he do with the verse mikre laila? In other words, the opinion that said from lifnos erev, you see 24 hours of tumah. What does he do with the pasuk mikra laila, which the other opinion held just till sundown? Amalei, so he will answer, Urcha de keri lemasya balayla. It's the more common form of emission for it to take place at night. So that the mikra layla means the keri comes out at night. The commentaries say something interesting on this. Kishimahara al mishkovo, Rashi says, v'dibra kosa b'hoive. From Rashi, I get the impression is that a person is having what we might term impure thoughts, and that's not a right thing to be engaged in to begin with. So why would the pasuk talk about a person having, when do people have impure thoughts? Most of the time that happens is when he's on his bed going to sleep. So why would the pasuk describe something that's unacceptable to begin with? So that's what Rashi adds with Dibra Kosbeva. That's the nature of people. It's true that people should work on their character, on their traits, and rise above that, and not think impure, immoral thoughts when lying in bed going to sleep. Nevertheless, the Torah is aware that that's the nature of man, and hence the term mikra layla doesn't mean the length of the tumah, but rather it's when the keri will be observed. When he's mikra layla means he's keri at night when he's going to sleep. The Mishnah, and on the side the topic heading reads Shmuel Hoya Nazir. The prophet Shmuel, Samuel, we will see, according to one opinion, was a Nazir. There's a pasuk, there are actually two pasukim that we'll be citing in our short piece of Gemara, but let's draw our attention to Shmuel Aleph, Perak Aleph, pasuk Yud Aleph. We've included this on the side of the Gemara. It says, V'nesativ Hashem kol yemei chayav, u'moira lo yale al roshai. The prophet Shmuel, when he was born, his mother had been childless. Hannah was childless for a while until he was born, and she then dedicated this child to the Beis Hamikdash. So, let's read now the Mishnah. Nazir hoya Shmuel, kedivrei Reb Noroi. Based on Reb Noroi, we conclude that the prophet Shmuel was a Nazir. Shneimar, the pasuk says, U'moira lo ya'al al roshai. And the Mishnah explains how you see Nazirus in that pasuk. Ne'emar b'Shimshon Moira. With regard to Shimshon, who lived at the time, he was one of the judges of Israel, so he's featured in the book of Judges and Sefer Shoftim. The word Mora appears. We've included the pasuk on the side of the Gemara, Shoftim Perek Yud Gimel pasuk Hey. It says, and I'm reading from the pasuk on the side, Ki hinoch hara v'yoladet bein u'moira lo yale al rosho ki nazir elikim yeh hanar min habeten. Well, the pasuk clearly describes that the baby will be, from birth, will be a Nazir. And in that context, you see the word moira lo yala rosho, would mean a razor, a tar. A mora is associated with a tar in this drasha, will not pass over his head, indicating a Nazir. So the Gemara points that out now. From the Shimshon pasuk in Sefer Shoftim, the word moira indicates, in a fairly clear fashion, Nazirus. So it says by Shimshon Umura, V'nemar b'Shmuel Umura, Ma Moira Amura b'Shimshon Nazir. Just like the word Moira in the context of Shimshon is a reference to Nazirus, Af Moira Amur b'Shmuel, so too the word Moira that appeared in Sefer Shmuel, Nazir. It's a reference to Nazirus. So that we see from here that Shmuel was a Nazir. Amar of Yossi, V'halo ein mora elo shel basar v'dam. The mother of Shmuel, name was Chana. When she was praying, it seemed she was praying, let's say, to have a child. she said that I don't want my son that should have fear of basar v'dam, of people. The word moira in Shmuel Aleph, Parak Aleph, Posuk Yud Aleph, which we included on the side of the Gemara, says, "Nesativ l'Hashem, I will give him unto Hashem, kol yemei chayav, for the balance of his life, u'moira lo ya'al al roshay." And there it says, moira shall not be above him, upon him. So, Rabbi Yossi says that is it not so that his mother Chana was praying that Shmuel should have no fear of men? And that's what lo yala moira lo yala rosha means. Moira, fear, from Lashon Yira, shall not overcome him. So we continue in the Gemara. Omar Rabbi Yossi. We read that already. That was the challenge to Rav Nehoroi, who mentions that Shmuel was a Nazir. So Rabbi Yossi is challenging that and saying, no, where do we see Nazirus? Shmuel was the product of his mother's prayers, that this son Shmuel, should not have fear of people. So that's what Mora means. Mora is an expression of fear, yirah. Nothing to do with a razor. Amar le'Rav Nehoroi, v'alo kvar nemar vayomer Shmuel ech elech v'shama shol v'harakeni. We see, historically, in the scriptures that Shmuel was sent on a mission to anoint David HaMelech, and he was fearful that the king Shaul HaMelech, would get wind of it and attempt to kill Shmuel for going off to anoint David while Shaul was still the king. So Shmuel says to the Almighty, how can I go? Shaul will hear of this scheme, and he'll kill me. Shekvar hoya alav moira shabasar v'dam. We see in this pasuk that he actually did have the fear of King Shaul HaMelech. So, if Chana, who herself is considered a prophetess, a very, very great individual, and if she was praying that Moira lo ya'al al roshai, or I should say, Kol Yemei Chayavu Moira lo ya'al al rosho, that fear should, if you're going to translate Moira as fear, so then her prayer was not fulfilled. And that's highly unlikely that she, who was a prophetess, such a great woman, that her prayer wasn't fulfilled. So that when you come to the pasuk, if you're going to translate that as there should be no fear over him, but we know he did come to be fear struck. He was fear struck from Shaul. Therefore, the term Moira indicates being a Nazir, as there will be no razor. Moira is a lashon of razor, going over his head to cut his hair, because he is a Nazir. The Gemara. Omar le Rav l'Chiyah B'rei. Rav gives some advice to his son Chiyah. We continue at the top of Omid Beis. And here we have a discussion that doesn't seem to be related to Nazirus, certainly in no obvious way. Nevertheless, he says, Rav tells his son, Chatofu brich, grab the opportunity to be the reciter of the benediction, and not to be satisfied with being simply one of those that answers Amen, but initiate the bracha. And the case that Rashi makes reference to is, if you find yourself eating with two other gentlemen, you have a threesome that ate a sufficient amount of bread, so there is a Zimun practice that maybe you're familiar with, where one person in effect recites the Birchas Hamazon, and the two others who are sitting there would listen to it and answer Amen, and that would be their Birchas Hamazon, the fact that they listened to a bracha and answered Amen. Well, any one of them could have led the bracha, could have been the reciter of the bracha. So Rav is saying, if you're in a position like that, you're one of three people, Chatof Brik, grab the opportunity to be the one that says the bracha. V'chein Omer le Rav Huna le Rabba Brei. Likewise, Rav Huna instructed his son. Chatof Brik, grab the opportunity to be the reciter of the bracha. The Gemara asks, L'meimra de mevorach adif? Are you suggesting then that the one who leads in the recitation of the bracha is better than those who answer, who respond? V'hatanya, here we have a source. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Gadol ha'ina Amen Yosem min ha'mavorech. Greater is the one that answers Amen more than the one who initiates the benediction. Hashemayim kachu. Hashemayim is an expression. It's like he swears. He swears that thusly it is. The idea that the leading, the initiating of the bracha is a greater practice to pursue than sufficing it for yourself with the mere answering of Amen. So the Gemara says that this issue you can see from an aspect of life. So where do we see this? That Amen is greater than initiating the bracha. So Rav Nori says, Hashamayim kachu is it's an expression we said of swearing. Teda sharei gulayrim mizgarim b'milchama v'giborim notzchin. In battles, the gulayrim, according to Rashi, gulayrim are the weaker ones. They initiate battles. And then the strong men, the warriors, come and do the cleanup act. So the final touches is really the sign of victory, and they're the ones that collect all the booty. So we're saying that we're paralleling bracha Amen to weak soldiers and warrior, like tough soldiers. So that, again, Sharei Gulayrim Mizgarim b'milchama, they arouse the war, they initiate the war. Those are the weak ones, the regular weak foot soldiers. And then V'giborim, the warriors, coming in armor on their horses, notzchem, they achieve the victory, and the victory is ascribed to them. Even though we'll say the dirty work or the essential battle work was done by the others. So we see here the praiseworthiness of those that do the final act, and hence the parallel to Amen coming after the bracha. So we saw Rav and Rav Huna telling their respective children that you should jump at the opportunity to say the bracha and not be satisfied merely with answering Amen. And here you see the opposite, that greater it is to answer Amen than to be the initiator of a bracha. The Gemara responds saying, Tanoihi, the matter is a machlokes Tanoim, Tisanya. Here we have a source that says that Echad ha-mevorech ve'echad ha'oinu Amen b'mashma elo shemimarin la-mevorech tchilas. Here you have a Tanaic source that says that whether it's the making of a bracha or it's the recital, the response of the Amen, they're both included in the pasuk. Now Rashi quotes the pasuk that says Gadlu Hashem iti u'neroimim shmo yachtov. So the expression Gadlu Hashem iti, let us rise up to Hashem together, that is a reference to the recitation of a bracha. And u'neroimim shmo yachtov, the second part of the pasuk, let us raise His name together, that is the Amen. So that the earlier point in the pasuk is the Gadlu Hashem iti, which is associated with the bracha. So the source is telling us shemimarin lemevorech tila, the giving of reward is given first to the one who recites the bracha. So the Tanoi, the machlokes Tanoim that was referred to was, on the one hand you have Rabbi Yossi saying Gadol ha'ina Amen Yosem mevorech, and this second source that says Mimarin la mevorech tchila. Omar Rebbe Ozer, Omar Rebbe Chanina, Talmidei Chacham marbim shalom ba'olam. Torah sages and their pursuit of Torah causes the increase of peace in the world. Shenemar v'chol bonayach limudei Hashem v'rav shlom bonayach. you see a reference to shalom, to peace, through the bonayach. There are other versions of this where the Gemara adds, the other version adds what you're familiar with maybe from the daily liturgy, Al Tikri Bonayach Ella Bonayach. Don't read it as your sons, but rather your builders. Those who study and build up Torah, they are the ones that are responsible for Rav Shalom, for increased peace in the world. With this, you can see that with the Siyata Dishmai, with the help of the one above, we have successfully completed Maseches Nazir, and it's our firm prayer and hope that we merit reviewing the Masechta, and Amir Tzashem will meet again in the next Masechta, which is Maseches Soita. With that, we conclude our shiur for today.
This was a presentation of the Daf Map. We hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to be informed of our other videos. For resources and more information, please visit our website at www.thedafmap.com.